What's up, guys? Neil Orfield here, taking a look at Stokastic's MLB DFS Lineup Generator for tonight's slate. While you're coming in, please do like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that notification button so you can get alerts when our shows go live. If you haven't yet signed up for the Lineup Generator, you can still get it for 50% off your first week using the link in the description of this video. If you're on YouTube or if you're on Twitter, just in my tweet, you should find a link to get this for just $4.48 for your first week. It's going to be just $8.95 after that. Still a fantastic deal. Every lineup that you get from the lineup generator has been run through the Stokastic sims. It has been found to be a long-term profitable lineup. So it doesn't mean it's necessarily going to win today, but if you play these lineups every day, you should expect to be profitable long-term. These are all very good lineups. They're going to be well correlated. They're going to be properly balanced, all of that. So check it out if you haven't already. Good way to get good lineups and good way to study what good lineups look like. All right, I'm going to start by taking a look at some DraftKings lineups here. I'm going to do all stack types, all lineup types. We're going to get a mix of chalky, balanced, and contrarian lineups here. And I'm not going to lock in any players. All right, first lineup we see here is a 5-3 Giants and Braves stack. We've got Charlie Morton there with the Braves stack, so a little bit of added correlation because if the Braves do well, then Charlie Morton more likely to get the W. We also have Kenta Maeda at just 12% ownership. Looks like a good lineup overall. It is on the contrarian end of the spectrum for tonight's slate, even though the Giants look like they have a little bit of ownership going to some of them. Peterson and Yastrzemski looking like they're getting some ownership, but then Ozuna at just 5% ownership, Olsen 12%, Murphy 11%. But then we have Brett Wisely in there for 5% ownership, Crawford at 5%. So some low-owned players in there. And then, of course, the pitchers, not crazy high ownership, only 12% there on Maeda. Let's take a look at the top pitchers tool for Morton and Maeda. All right, Morton third on the board in terms of top two pitcher odds with a 23% chance. Maeda down at sixth on the board with a 17% chance of being a top two pitcher at just 12% ownership. Some nice leverage there on Kenta Maeda. And then as far as the stacks go, we had the Braves in there. They have a 14% chance of being the top stack. I think we had the two top stacks, right? The Braves and the Giants. That is correct. So we've got the Braves 14%, Giants 13%, both some positive leverage on their ownership there. Good to see. That's a really nice looking lineup. All right, let's save that one. Now this one more on the chalky end of the spectrum. We have a 5-man Met stack with 3 one-offs. We've got Matt Olson, Christopher Morel, and Giancarlo Stanton as the one-offs to go along with those Mets bats. We still have Maeda, and now we have Luis Castillo. So it's in the top pitcher tool. Yeah, Luis Castillo, number 1 on the board in terms of top two pitcher odds with a 30% chance. Again, Maeda, 6th on the board. And then we had a Mets primary stack with no secondary stack. They are third on the board with an 8% chance of being the top stack for the Mets. So two pretty different looking lineups to start. And I'm going to go through and save 20 lineups, see what my exposures look like. Again, I did all lineup types, so we're going to see this meter bounce around from chalky to contrarian and back as I'm going through these. All right, so after 20 lineups, I have 60% Francisco Alvarez. I have 50% Luis Castillo and Francisco Lindor, and then nobody else above 40%. So fairly spread out overall. I think if I got to this exposure, I'd probably try to cut back a little bit on my Francisco Alvarez, maybe get below 50% there. I don't think I need that much Francisco Alvarez on a slate of this size. But in general, I'd be okay with these lineups. This looks pretty spread out. As far as my risk tolerance goes, I think I'd be okay with this set of lineups. All right, now I'm going to go take a look at some FanDuel lineups as well. Again, I'm doing all stack types, all lineup types, not locking anybody. All right, so first lineup that we see on FanDuel is a 4-4 Mets and Braves lineup with Carlos Rodon as the pitcher. 21% ownership going to Rodon. The Mets and Braves both looking fairly chalky here. And yeah, this is on the very chalky end of the spectrum. Let's take a look at the top stacks tool for the Mets and the Braves on FanDuel. So we have the Braves number 1 on the board, 14% chance of being the top stack. Mets 4th overall with a 9% chance of being the top stack. And then we had Carlos Rodon as the pitcher. And on FanDuel, let's see how he grades out. We've got Rodon 3rd on the board with a 10% chance of being the top pitcher today at just $7,500. Really nice price tag there on Carlos Rodon. All right, I'm going to save this lineup. Take a look at one more, and now we have a 4-3-1 lineup. So we've got Am I reading this wrong? Oh yeah, we have a 4-3-1 with 4 Giants, 3 Mets, and then Aussie LBs as the one-off here. This one a little bit less chalky than the last one. Still a lot of chalk in here with some 22% owned Jock Peterson, Brandon Nimmo, but then a few lower owned bats here as well. Brett Wisely at just 3%, Alvarez at 9%, bringing down that overall ownership. Luis Castillo as the pitcher. He is top of the board in terms of top pitcher odds. Now we got the Mets 4th on the board and the Giants 2nd on the board in terms of top stack odds. All right, I'm going to just save these 20 lineups and then take a look at my exposures after 20. All right, after 20, I must have only done 19 because I have weird amounts here. I must have accidentally discarded one, but close enough. We got 79% Carlos Rodon, 68% Ronald Acuna, 53% Francisco Lindor. I would probably go back and get rid of some of this Rodon. I mean, looking at the top pitch tool, he's so cheap. It kind of makes sense. He's going to look really good here, but he is getting a little bit too much ownership, 19% ownership, 10% chance of being the top pitcher. I'd maybe get rid of a little bit, but honestly, probably not the end of the world with 7,500 Rodon. That's probably reasonable. Maybe go back and get rid of some of these Acuna lineups as well. Maybe get a couple more that don't have him in there, but honestly, not the end of the world in 20 lineups to have this much concentrated ownership to certain players. I generally prefer to spread it out a little bit more, but in 20 lineups, I'm probably a little bit more okay concentrating my ownership. All right, so that is going to do it for this video. Again, if you haven't done so, please do hit that like button, sign up using the link in the description to get 50% off your first week. Thanks, guys.